Good evening. It's 6 o'clock on Saturday, the 22nd of July, 2017. Welcome and thank you for joining us tonight for the English edition of Aura News, bringing you the day's national top stories translated into English 6 days a week. Around 104,000 members of the Democratic Party are voting for the new Democratic Party chairman today. The voting centres opened at 8 in the morning and will close this evening at 7 p.m. The voting process has generally been calm, starting at 8 o'clock without any technical problems. Most of the DP members have voted already, with participation being especially high in the morning hours. The organisers of the election believe that the number of voters will climb higher, particularly in the last 2 hours before the voting centres close. Yesterday, the chairman of the Electoral Commission in the Democratic Party said that he did not expect high participation because a large number of Democrat members are actually living abroad. Participation from voters has reached 43% in Dibur, 44% in Leisure and 30% in Elbasan. Elections for the DP chairman are being held in all DP branches throughout Albania. The 73 voting centres will remain open until 7 p.m, when the ballots will be sent to the Democratic Party's headquarters, where the counting of votes will be conducted. Both candidates in the running for DP chairman, Edward Salami and Lulzim Basha, have cast their votes at the Democratic Party's headquarters. Candidate Salami was the first to arrive at the DP headquarters. Mr. Salami was received by the chairman of the Electoral Commission, who wished him success. Speaking after his vote was submitted, Mr. Salami advised that he considered the process to be important, regardless of the inequality. Once again, Mr. Salami raised his suspicions over the process. According to him, this is an unequal race, but despite this, he thinks that the Democrats will choose the right chairman with the best model. Despite the inequality of this race, I think that the Democrats will elect not only the party's chairman, but also the best model that will return hope and trust to the Democrats and the Albanian people. Today's voting will recover the Democratic Party. Based on the information I have, the participation in voting is high. I am disappointed by all those who issued calls for a boycott, Mr. Salami told journalists outside the DP headquarters. Shortly afterward, it was candidate Lulzim Basha who voted at the DP headquarters. Mr. Basha, who is running for a second mandate, said that the process is tracking well and that the Democrats will be more united after this process. The process is going in a calm, civilised and democratic way. I am convinced that the DP and Democrats will come out of this process stronger, more united and ready to be the only force that will represent the hope and future of every Albanian. I want to thank all the Democrats who have become part of this process. I express my deep gratitude for the tour of an intensive campaign in every DP branch, declared Basha. Elections for DP chairman were boycotted by those members who have issued criticism against Mr. Basha. Astrid Patosi called on Lulzim Basha to withdraw from the race, which he considers to be an electoral farce. Meanwhile, Besnik Mustafai and Ridvan Bode have called on the Democrats not to participate in the elections. The former Prime Minister and former Democratic Party Chairman Sali Berisha today commented for the first time on the electoral process in the DP. Speaking after his voting at the DP's headquarters, Mr. Berisha declared that the Democratic Party suffered the deepest loss ever in the June 25 elections and that a new winning strategy is needed. Mr. Berisha asked for an analysis on the loss of the DP in the parliamentary elections. Berisha considered the process to be in accordance with the party's statute. The Democratic Party is in serious difficulties. It has suffered the deepest loss in its history. However, my message to the Democrats is that there is no fatal loss. I call on the Democrats to work with dedication for a new strategy that will secure the Democratic Party's return to power. This strategy is completely possible and it can only be reached by being united. The Democratic Party should do everything to find the biggest cohesion, with every member contributing, Mr. Berisha declared, before adding that the electoral process is being held according to the statute. Commenting on the request of some DP members for the resignation of Lulzim Basha, the former DP chairman had this to say: "It is normal to ask for the resignation, but no one can force him to do so as the statute does not require this. It is normal to ask for an irrevocable resignation, but the statute does not include the irrevocable resignation." When asked whether he will return to chair the Democratic Party, Berisha replied, "I have given my resignation and there is no turning back. I resigned by my free will. I am asking for your understanding. There are thousands of Democrats who are asking for my return, but I do stand by the decision I have already made," concluded Berisha. According to the Civil Emergency Service, 12 fires have erupted in the past 24 hours across different areas of the country, including in Shkodër, Tiranë, Durrës, Elbasan, Korç, Berat, Lezhë and Fier. 50 firefighters with 14 vehicles, 13 volunteer teams, military forces and helicopters are all engaged in the operations to extinguish the flames. The civil emergency specialists are keeping the situation under constant monitoring throughout the country because the danger of fires persists due to the hot weather. According to the Civil Emergency Service, the high temperatures have provided favourable conditions to the blazes. In the majority of cases, fires have erupted as a result of carelessness from citizens. However, the Civil Emergency Service has reported that there were also cases where fires have been lit intentionally. The Civil Emergency Service has asked for the help of Viva helicopters to assist in extinguishing the flames. Viva has made its helicopters available during this period when the number of fires has been particularly high. The German pilots have acted swiftly and professionally, often flying for several hours in special operations to deal with fires in rugged terrain. These operations have resulted in success. Once again, the Civil Emergency Service reiterated its appeal for citizens to call emergency phone numbers if they see any signs of fire. Speaking of the fires today, Viva helicopters have participated in another operation to extinguish an out-of-control blaze. The Civil Emergency Service asked for the help of Viva to extinguish the flames in Mirdite's mountainous area, where a forest surface was ablaze. Given the location of the fire that erupted in rugged terrain, intervention from land proved too difficult. Viva helicopters intervened from the air and managed to isolate the blaze. A representative of the Civil Emergency Service in Mirdite told Aura News that the fire was risking nearby houses. The firefighting teams could not enter the area due to the rugged terrain. The helicopters successfully extinguished the flames thanks to the staff at Viva and their experience in dealing with fires. Three specialists of Tirana's tax directory were arrested for passive corruption and dereliction of duty. Their arrest was made after the owner of a business in Kavaya denounced them via the portal set up by the Prime Minister for the citizens. The tax specialists had received 40,000 lek in bribes from the business owner. Following an operation called TND, police arrested 2 inspectors for the implementation of tax investigation and a specialist at the Directory of Investigation in the Tax Directory. Tirana's police director advised that police are investigating whether the tax inspectors have made other similar abuses of power in their duties. The state police calls on all business owners to denounce abusive behaviour by state employees. The state police went on to give assurance to the citizens that they will react swiftly and provide support to any person who is a victim of dereliction of duty by state employees. That's all for our English edition this evening. My name is Alexandra. Please join me again Monday through Saturday at 6 p.m. for your local news in English. On behalf of Aura News, thank you and good night.